So this question is asking you to give the IUPAC name of double bonds that are either what are called cis or trans. First, let's name them like you would normally name a molecule with a double bond. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 carbons, and the prefix is bute. There is at least one double bond, and so the infix is En. The molecule only has hydrogen and carbon in it, and so the suffix is E. Then you want to see where the double bond starts. Now you can number this molecule left to right or right to left. If we number it left to right, the double bond starts on carbon 2. If we number it right to left, the double bond would also start on carbon 2. So it doesn't matter which way you number it. I'm going to number it left to right, and that will start at carbon 2. And the name for this would be 2-butene. Now, that isn't the complete name, however, because although single bonds can rotate, double bonds cannot. And so when you have a double bond with carbons coming off of it, you want to say whether those carbons are on the same side of the double bond or on opposite sides. So start by drawing a dotted line down the long end of the double bond. Notice that the carbon coming off on the left is going up. Also notice the carbon coming off away from the double bond on the right carbon is also going up. These are on the same side of that dotted line. And so if the two carbons coming off of the double bond are on the same side of the double bond, they're called cis, and you put that in front of the name. So this would be cis-2-butene. If you had a double bond and the two carbons were on opposite ends of the double bond, for example, this one's going up, this one's going down, that would be trans. So your two options are cis and trans when you have a double bond with carbons coming off of both carbons in the double bond. And this one, because the carbons are coming off the same side of the double bond, is cis. Let's compare that with this one. Now this doesn't have branches, so first we'll just see how many carbons we're dealing with. Looks like we have 8, and so the prefix is going to be oct. We have at least one double bond, and so the infix is En. Finally, there's only hydrogen and carbon in the molecule, and so the suffix is E. Now, technically you could number this molecule left to right or right to left. If I numbered it right to left, the double bond would start at carbon 5. If I number it left to right, the double bond starts at carbon 3. Because 3 is lower than 5, we'll number this left to right. And so this will be 3-octene. But because we have that double bond, we have to see whether it's cis or trans. So start by drawing a dotted line down the long end of the double bond. Now the carbon here on the left is going up, the carbon chain on the right is going down. Those are opposite sides of that dotted line, and so this would be a trans double bond. So this is going to be trans 3-octene, and that would be the IUPAC name for this molecule. Now, with this one, first, there are no branches, so we'll just name the straight chain. If I number this left to right, well, first, how many carbons we have? We have a total of 7 carbons. The prefix for 7 is hept. There's at least one double bond, and so the infix here is En. And there's only hydrogen and carbon in this molecule, so the suffix is E. Now, I could either number this left to right or right to left. If I number it left to right, the double bond starts on carbon 4. If I number it right to left, the double bond starts at carbon 3. So because going from right to left gives me a lower number, I'll number it from right to left. And I'll say that the double bond starts at 3. Always between numbers and letters goes a dash, so you have 3-heptene. Now that isn't the full name because we have this double bond here, so it could either be cis or trans. To check, draw a dotted line down the long end of the double bond. On the left, the carbon coming off of the double bond, the carbon chain coming off the double bond is going up. On the right, the carbon chain coming off the double bond is going up, so these are on the same side of the double bond, and they're cis. So just put that in front of the whole name, and you'd have cis 3-heptene for the IUPAC name for this molecule.